So the first thing I do when a guy comes to me and say, "Hey, I want you to play for, I want you to, be a keyboard player for Group One, or I want you to, start playing for them." One of the things that I think about is, what is the group? I mean, what type of music do they do? Yeah, they do gospel music, they do Christian music, but what type of music is it? What field should I bring to the table for their group? So it's their concert and their group. So you have to come into formation of what they're doing. You can't come and say, "I'm going to bring my stuff because this is what I do." No, you got to say, "This is the group and this is how can I fit in?" So basically how the group is structured is they have a piece of hip hop. They're very pop and they're very CCM. So it's more of a genre. I would consider it non-gospel in a sense. So when I'm coming, I have to say to myself, okay, this is Group One. They're pop. They're hip hop. They're a little bit of soul, a little bit of funk, but they're definitely not gospel. They're definitely not. So the thing is, I can't come in bringing all my tritones to their group. You know what I mean? I have to learn how to play stuff straight. So I get this email all the time. I mean, all the time. And sometimes I get offended, but I think they're coming from a good place. People ask me all the time, "Jamal, how can I play for top artists? Or how can I make it to the top?" Now, me personally, the way I'm built, I get a little iffy on that question, because that question kind of leads me to believe that your goal is really to be this well-known musician and respected. Not a bad goal, just probably wouldn't be on the highest priority goal of what a Christian value is, of what God would want you to do. Well, first thing, Jesus is the highest known person you could ever play for. You know what I'm saying? Like how can I play for top artists? You play for Jesus? Yeah. You play for the top artists. You know what I mean? Like I know it sounds real Christian-y, but it's real. Like, I really think like that. Like, I don't really, I'm weird like that, because people always ask me, "Who do you play for?" I could have played for a lot of guys. I could have made a lot of money. Right now, I could be a millionaire right now. How I could be a millionaire right now is if I went on YouTube and I did all of the piano parts of all of the top songs of Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Jay-Z. If I played those songs and taught you how to play it, I could be a millionaire right now. Look at all the piano players on YouTube that make R&B strictly music. They got tons of views. I could be a millionaire right now, but that's not what I stand for. You know what I mean? That's not who I am. I made a promise a long time ago. I said, "Lord, if you give me the gift to play, I will play for you." That's the promise I made. I never forgot that promise, and He's blessed me with that promise. I made another promise. I said, "Lord, I don't want to have to turn any other musicians away from teaching them how to play." So hence gospel musicians. So my dad used to always say something. He said, "If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything." You've heard that before. So the thing is, I question your motive of wanting to play for the top gospel artists, because I got a little bit of thing to tell you. The top gospel artists, or the top artists that you think you see on TV and all over the place, they, in some instance, not all, but they struggle with the same sins that everybody else do. Like, I used to play for top gospel artists, and in the dressing rooms, they're still groupies. They're just church groupies. They're still people cheating on their wives. It's the same thing. Like, don't let the fame and the TV and the glitz and the glamour fool you. Sometimes it's the same thing. So don't be so quick to just jump on a bandwagon and be this musician. So sometimes what you're really saying is, I'm a little insecure about myself, and I want people to, and my security lies in me playing for top gospel artists. Like, you know what I mean? So my thing is, all right, so with all that preaching aside, if you want to play for top gospel artists, or you want to play for top artists in general, here's the number one rule. You ready? All right, you ready to write this down? It's long, so ready to write it down. You want to play for top artists, you want to play for top gospel artists, here's the number one rule. You ready? Simple. That's the word. Play simple. Play the song the way it's supposed to be played. Simple. That's the rule. We're done. No, I'm serious. All right, that is the rule. So you have all these guys with all these chops. Running all over the place. They don't get the gigs. They don't get the top gigs. It's the guy that goes. That's the guy that gets the gig. That's the secret. Play simple. Nobody want all them crazy chords. That's for jam sessions and that's for shedding with your boys. But in real life business, you want a gig? So let's go over some of these songs. So I got 7 songs to learn for the, and it's an acoustic set. What an acoustic set is, no backing tracks, just you and the musicians. That can be cool for certain types of music, but certain songs, you got to figure out a way to fill it up. So the first rule of thumb is, all right, I got a new gig. Until the moment I receive these songs, until the concert, I am not allowed to listen to any other music except the music for the gig. That is my life. For the next 2 or 3 weeks, I only listen to music that is the music on the gig. When I'm in the car, I listen to that because if you're a regular musician, you listen for the context. If you're a spiritual musician, if you're a Christian and you're playing for Christian artists and you love the Lord, your goal is to not only play the music, but you have to understand what the music is. You have to kind of feel the music so that you, remember, we're gospel musicians. So we're not just playing for a gig, we're playing so people can be saved. That's a whole different purpose. A lot of people in the neo soul, especially guys from Paris, man, the Paris people love neo soul. People from the UK, they love neo soul better than Americans. It's crazy. And so they ask me, how do you get that feel? How do you play with so much soul? Well, one part is that I grew up that way. That's our oral tradition in the gospel neo soul arena. It's just in our blood. 2, we play for a different reason. When you're playing for a higher purpose, that higher purpose comes out in your music. So sometimes what you think you hear is chords is nothing more than just the grace of God over my life. So there's some things I can teach you from an aesthetic standpoint on chords and chopping them up, but some things I can't teach you, and some things you can only get from being a Christian because you have God's presence on the inside. And so even though you think you're hearing chords, what you're really hearing is something deeper, which is the Holy Spirit that's inside of us. So sometimes, in some instances, I can't teach you that. You just have to be, that's part of what we do as Christians. You know what I mean? The music is secondary to who we are. So there's a bigger reason why sometimes my chords sound different, because they come from a different place. They come from a source of being in love with Jesus. I know it sounds deep. No, man, you just playing regular chords. No. These chords are chords that are meant to glorify God, so they're going to sound different. 2 people can go. You know what I mean? Or somebody can. All this stuff. So all that stuff comes from playing and having to set a presence in church, creating an atmosphere so people can come to God. All right. So I wanted to make that clear. I do DVDs on neo soul. I like neo soul. I do DVDs on that. My ultimate purpose is to bring in the lost. So I do DVDs on that. All right. But I want you to know that 2 people can play the same chords, but it comes from a different place. And when your place comes from the presence of God and being in love with Jesus, then your skills are going to just skyrocket. It's a totally different approach. So